Hey everybody, this is Sime, your crypto CPA from the Lone Star State here at Akib CPA. Well, we have an urgent public service announcement for every crypto holder out there. Why? Because coming January 2026, you're going to be receiving a new 1099 DA form from your centralized exchange such as Coinbase, Kraken, Gemini, Binance, Uphold, and all the others. Why? Because IRS and the Department of Treasury is trying to streamline this new form. But most of these forms will be inaccurate. And I'll get to the crust of this and why they'll be inaccurate and what you can do to fix these forms now before they hit your mailbox, before they hit your email box. And because come January 2026, you're not going to have time to fix these because you're going to have taxes due in April 2026. All right, so let's get down to it. So if you all know that most of these centralized exchanges are places where you're buying your crypto or you're liquidating or withdrawing your crypto, right? So when I say January 2026, it's going to contain all the exchanges, the withdrawals, the trades that you've done in 2025 in these exchanges, and you're going to get this new form. And then you're going to plug that form into your 1040, or if you're a company, you're going to plug it into your 1120S, 1065, or 1120. So this is how the new 1099 DA form will look like. You'll have a section of where you'll have your name, your social security number. If you're a company, you'll have your EIN number here. You'll have all the information. And on the right side of this form, you'll also see all the digital assets, the cryptocurrencies that you've been trading, selling, and exchanging. Everything that has a taxable event that's going to give you either a gain or loss will be reported here. Obviously, this is not going to cover all the DeFi transactions that you do because they don't have that information. Or they do at least, but it's not going to be on this form. And you're going to need to report that separately. But at least if you move any crypto back into the centralized exchange, you're going to get this form, and you need to make sure that this form is correct. Now, why is this most of these forms, why will these be inaccurate, as you can see from the description of the video? Most of these forms will be inaccurate. Why? Because a lot of you out there have MetaMask wallet, a Kepler wallet, a Trezor wallet, a Ledger, Exodus, Trust, all these DeFi wallets. If you're a company, maybe you've started your own token, you've done an ICO, you have your own projects, you're doing a whole lot of stuff, and none of those transactions are on centralized exchanges unless you transfer that crypto back into that centralized exchange, and then you're going to get those tokens. But the centralized exchanges won't know what your cost basis is when you acquired those tokens, and all that information. So what will happen is you'll get that 1099 form, which is going to be inaccurate. So, and you're on the hook for this, you as an individual and as a company. And where will you be wrong? It's going to be box 1G. They're not going to have the cost basis. They're not going to have the actual date. So most of them, they'll be defaulted to short-term capital gains, and maybe you could have had a long-term capital gains. But the biggest one is your cost basis is going to be inaccurate. And you need to make sure that you go into these centralized exchanges now at the end of 2025 and go into this tax center or go into the transactions, search and filter through all the transactions that have a zero cost basis, and you know those are the ones that are suspect. And then they'll have a section where you can report all the cryptos that were transferred from your self-custody wallets to the centralized exchanges, and then you went ahead and liquidated them or converted them or whatever you did with them. Because all of those will be captured on the 1099 DA form, but if you don't get that information in now, it's going to be inaccurate. So you need to make sure that information is correct. Otherwise, most likely you're going to overpay your taxes. And you're not going to have enough time, ladies and gentlemen, to get this correct. And it is on the taxpayer, whether you're a company or an individual, to get these forms corrected before you file your tax returns. Otherwise, you're going to have a data mismatch in the IRS's system. And what will that data mismatch do? That can cause a potential letter, a potential examination or audit of some type if you dispute that letter as well. So before we get to all of that, why don't we make sure that all these centralized exchanges that are going to be reporting your 1099 DA form that you will receive in January 2026, for that to be accurate, so then you can enjoy your crypto earnings. You won't have that stress episode. You will be fine with your family, those dinners that you have, and it'll be easy for you. And again, this is Saim, your crypto CPA from the Lone Star State here at Akif CPA. And what do? We make crypto taxes easy, so you spend less time stressing and more time enjoying life. Thank you so much, and have an amazing day.